One of our male viewers requested a video on Riz tips. Thank you, first of all, for wanting to respect women.
Because of that, we went and asked our female viewers for their red flags and just overall deal breakers, as well as some of their green flags. So here are 10 ways to lose a girl in 10 days and 10 ways to win her over.
Welcome to today's episode of the Rose to the Ceilings podcast. So, we asked our viewers, as Maggie said, and we're going to
Mm-hmm.
start with what we compiled of what you guys said about how to lose a girl.
Yeah, this is based on that one movie on how to lose a guy in 10 days. I never actually watched the movie, but I'm assuming it's just things you do to make someone hate you. So here are 10 ways to make a girl instantly not want to talk to you ever again. So, do you want to start with yours?
Sure. So the first one on my list is to isolate her. So this often happens when you're already dating, and I think that's what the people who said this meant, which is kind of insulting her friends and pitting himself against her friends because
Mm.
you always want to have that kind of community mindset, not that you have to choose me or her.
Oh no, for sure. I know a lot of girls who've had this experience. Well, they'll be like, "Oh, my ex tried to like turn me against all my friends." So then people do that because then they're her only support system, and they just don't have the people to tell her anymore. Like that's not normal. That's not normal. So don't. That's yeah. No, this person's right. If you isolate a girl, most of the time, like she'll notice, her friends will notice something's up, and you will lose her. Uh, The second one someone sent in is, ooh, call her dramatic. You know what? That is a big one because a lot of the times, again, like this is very common within almost everyone we've talked to. A girl will be like, oh, this is something that's bothering me. Like, why aren't we like communicating more? Or I don't like how you do this. And then a guy will be like, you're dramatic. It's not a big deal. Get over it. Mm-mm.
Yeah, honestly, this one is for everyone in general too.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying this to anyone, like regardless of their gender, that's just so dismissive of somebody's feelings. You should be able to talk it out without calling each other anything.
No, for sure. Like, if you are calling someone dramatic, you should probably like dig in a little deeper there and be like, why? Why is that happening? Because something you need to fix.
Yeah. So my second one is not putting in efforts in dates. I think this is the big one for so many people. Um, a lot of times they just feel like they have to plan everything, or maybe the other person isn't putting in that same amount of effort. It's kind of like the 70-30 rule, where it's like if you can't be 50-50 in effort, they have to at least be 30% there.
No, but a lot of the time, as this viewer is probably mentioning, it's like 0-100, right?
Yeah.
If a girl's gonna be the one planning, like, oh, let's go to dinner on Saturday, let's go to the mall next week, let's hang out then, let's go see a movie, then they're also gonna notice, like, hey, how come I'm doing everything? How come you're doing absolutely nothing? So I guess, you know what? Yeah, if you're not putting in effort on actually trying to see her and like talk to her, gone, she's gone. Uh, Next one I have on this list is disrespect her family. I know this is a big one for a lot of people. Because obviously your family is really important, right? Family's important to everyone. So when a guy is, just like dismissive, like when they don't really care about what her parents think or what her siblings think, if he just like does not care about her family at all, it's just respecting them. Yeah, that's a red flag.
That is such a deal breaker, and that is so sad that people actually have to say that. Like, I feel like that should be a given already to respect the other person's family. That is
Or
so
respecting anyone's family. Like I feel like again, these are like baseline.
My next one is listen to respond rather than to understand. This is what not to do, by the way. I think that a lot of times when people listen to each other, it's like in one ear, one out the other, and you're just thinking about, okay, so what am I going to say after this to make myself look better, or just what am I going to say? But really, you should be sitting there and listening to really understand what the other person is saying.
So just like
And
constantly being in like a debate mindset where it's like you're saying this, I need to win, so I'm gonna say this instead of being like, I don't need to win this, like I just want to work this out. You know what? Yeah, this person is very, very based. Next thing someone sent in is in capitals try to manipulate her, as in like if you've ever been on TikTok, you've seen the people like, oh, here's how you pick up a girl. First, you're gonna be super nice to her for 3 days, and they're not gonna talk to her for 3 days. Else, when you talk to her again, she'll be obsessed with you. Why are you doing that? Like, why are you trying to manipulate her? It's not gonna work. If you want to pick up a girl, that's probably the worst way to go about it. If you just talk to her like a normal person, that's gonna get you so much further than listening to whatever these alpha male TikTokers have to say. So yeah, thanks for sending that one in.
Yeah, I feel like that's oftentimes a girl thing too. It's just like a lot of people in general, when giving dating advice, at least online, they tell teenagers, okay, so you should text them and then wait 3 days, or if they don't text you in 3 days, they don't like you or whatever.
It's like, where
And
are you getting
it's
3 days from? That's not based in anything.
Yeah, and it's definitely a big thing that like TikTokers are trying to press on teens, especially because teens don't have experience in these things. So they're trying to say you have to do this, and it's not beneficial at all.
For sure.
My next one is being rude to service workers.
Ooh.
I think this goes both ways as well. Well, a lot of these things on this list does, but like being rude to your waiter or waitress, or just yelling at service workers in general, because you need to understand their job is hard.
Yeah, no, that is a big red flag because the perspective for me at least is if you feel that comfortable yelling to an absolute stranger, then how do you treat people you love and how do you treat people you care about? So yeah, if you're gonna be rude to service workers and then the girl you're with never talks to you again, don't be surprised. Last one I have written down from a viewer is, oh, not last one, but letting your friends make fun of her. There's a lot to unpack there, but I know it's just if you're gonna let people, your friends with, disrespect someone that you like, and then think she's gonna be okay with that, and just like move past that, like, hmm,
It's like she's not gonna feel valued if you're letting other people who are close to you make fun of her. That seems like such an easy thing to understand.
especially if you're not gonna defend her, especially if you're just gonna let that slide.
Yeah, so my last one on the list is being overly selfish. So I heard that this is kind of a subtleness and wording thing as well. Like when somebody always is talking about what the other person can do for them, like, "Oh, you make me so happy." Even that, if that's the only thing they say, then that's a problem because they should be talking about also the things they like about you, not just what you can do for them.
It's also the whole like, what do you put on the table kind of bring to the table mindset that's kind of been like growing a bit more. It's like it's not really just it's about both people. It's not just about you. So what? That is very yeah, no, that is how you lose a girl very easily. And then the actual lesson I have written down from someone is make fun of her interests. That's a big one. You know what? I completely agree with this one. I don't know what it is about being demeaning that people think is gonna like. It's like normal. It's not normal to demean anyone, especially someone you want to start dating. Just be respectful. Like it's not that hard.
And if you're wanting to get to know a person better, then why would you make fun of the things that you're trying to get to know? Doesn't make sense.
No, for sure. So we just went over a few things, 10 that we got sent that are our viewers red flags in a guy, as in things that will make them lose the girl. But like we already mentioned, we also asked for things that would help a guy win a girl over. So now here are the more happy green flags. I can start us off with the first one we have sent in is know her personally and not just follow the basic generic alpha male TikToker advice. Um, Very packed one, but I think the main core of it is that every girl is different. It's not just all one collective personality. People have different love languages. They prefer different things, and they're not always. It's the generic advice from the alpha male podcast TikTokers. It's not always gonna work. Some girls might like it, some might hate it. So you actually have to know the person. You can't just follow generic advice. That being
Yeah.
said, here are 9 more generic advice pieces.
And I totally agree with that one because it's like what we surround ourselves with and all of our experiences, that's what really makes us who we are. And today with social media, it's so easy to surround ourselves with all of this random advice. Sometimes it could be toxic advice without you knowing. So you really have to take a step back and have that level of self awareness.
For sure.
So my first one is pretty general. People said to communicate well. And yeah, that makes sense.
This seems, yeah, you know what? This seems like something everyone can do. But like again, like in this age of like digitalized everything, you'll be surprised as to how many people just don't know how to communicate their needs or their wants. So being able to do that, you're ahead of the curve, right? So that is how you easily win a girl over, I think. Next one we have is take initiative. This one's kind of related to what I think we talked about earlier, where it's like if you don't put effort in on dates. But if you're just gonna be the one always taking initiative, always texting her, calling her, planning things, most girls I know would like that. Most people I've talked to do prefer somebody who takes initiative. So that's one piece of advice.
I think the second one I got is also pretty similar. So even when you already have her, keep putting in effort. Because a lot of people think that the putting in effort part is the chase. But
Mm.
if you want to keep that person, you have to keep putting in effort.
Oh no, for sure. Like it like it's actually so sad when you see people that are like, oh, I like this person, but then I stop liking them immediately after I got the person. Because like then you don't like the person. You're wasting her time. You're like that is borderline manipulation. It practically is. It's just not a nice thing to do. Don't do that. You gotta keep putting in effort afterwards, for sure. Okay, the next one here is to involve her in your life. That seems pretty simple to do too. Just like let them know how your day was, or just tell them about your friends, tell them about your family, tell them about what you like to do. It's pretty simple, but it makes someone feel like you actually care about them and that you're actually like, you know, together.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. Because how are you supposed to build a connection if you don't even know each other? I feel like that's really borderline. Yeah. My next one is be reliable and stick to your word. I think trust is a really important thing. So if somebody says something that they're going to do and then they don't do it, that's obviously a big problem.
Trust is very hard to repair. It is so, like you can do one small thing, you can do one small lie, and that's gonna take like years to like actually get them to fully trust you again. So just don't do that in the first place. Don't feel the need to lie. Again, like communication is always important, like we mentioned. So yeah, just be reliable. That makes sense. Next thing I have was a viewer saying, remember things about her, brackets, write down if you have to. This one's really good. I like this one's yeah, no, this is one of my favorite ones in because just having people remember some small thing you said in like passing and like acting on it is one of the nicest things someone can ever do for someone in my opinion. And this person also said again, if you don't have a good memory, as soon as she mentions something like, oh, I think um cats are really cute, just take out your notes app. Be like, she likes cats. Then get her like a plush cat or something. That's like one of the easiest things you can do to make someone feel heard. I really, really like this one. This was one of my favorites.
That's really cute. It really shows that you care. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a really important one to me too, especially because I'm bad at that, remembering things. So a lot of times I have to write down things that my friends say because I can't remember. So that's definitely it's so important. It's so important. Um, my next one is to take care of yourself because how can you care for somebody else if you didn't even take care of yourself? You have to
Mm-hmm.
make sure your self-care is up to standards first.
Yeah, like contrary to what some people say, like, oh, I want a guy that's completely obsessed with me. That's not really true. Um, don't let this person be the only thing that's going on in your life because that's like, first of all, that's a little bit sad. Like, no offense, but just having like being like an interesting person is just it's just nice, They're like, oh, this person has their whole life, but I'm also included in their life. It's very sweet. And the last one I have for green flags is view her as a person and not a token. Um, I think this one just kind of means like you have to, even if you're just trying to make a girl your girlfriend, you have to remember that she, at the core, she is still a person. She's not just like a potential girlfriend. And you have to treat her like a person and not just someone you're trying to like win over.
Hmm.
So make sure you're still humanizing a girl, first of all. That's like a very big thing. And treat her how you would any other person. I think this one's a really big one.
I agree with that. My last one is it's okay to be vulnerable. I think we talk
Oh.
about this a lot on the podcast about toxic masculinity,
Mhm.
especially in high schools, and how sometimes men might feel like they have to be this strong macho version of themselves, but really, it's better for everybody to try to be a little bit vulnerable with the other person. Sometimes that's hard because of whatever trauma you may have faced,
Mm.
but it's an important thing in a relationship.
Like I can understand people being more closed off and expressing their like vulnerable side. Like obviously, all of us have like some level of that, but it's also like a bonding thing too. Like you definitely, it's how you can build trust over time. And trust is something we mentioned a lot today because that's kind of like the building block of all relationships, right? It's like if there's no trust, you have nothing. Um, so you know what? Yeah, vulnerability is really crucial to that. Those are our 10 things on how to win a girl. Woo! Use those, not the first 10. Don't get them mixed up, please.
Let us know if you try them. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Bye bye.